Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, my name's Ben Thomas and you're watching Combat Sports UK. Today, I'm joined by the former Cage Warriors Academy Wales featherweight champion, Ieuan Mackenzie, who makes his professional debut at Budo Fighting Championships this Saturday. First of all, it's an absolute pleasure to have you joining us today. How are you doing at the moment? How's life treating you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, life's going really good at the moment. Already got a pad session in this morning, had a massage this afternoon, and just chilling out before training now. So yeah, it's going really well at the moment.
I'll be honest, that sounds like a dream afternoon. I've woken up today, my shoulders are in agony. I'd absolutely die for a massage, to be honest. But as I just mentioned, you are taking the deep dive into professional mixed martial arts this Saturday. Before we get into your opponent and dive a bit deeper into the contest, I want to touch on how it came to be. Obviously, you have a 10-4 amateur record and have established yourself as one of the top prospects coming out of Wales. Why do you feel like now was maybe the time to take that step to being a professional? Why not a few months ago, just before IMAFs? Did you want to get IMAFs over and done with and then take the step, or why now?
Yeah, I mean, I after the fight December 2021, when I won the featherweight belt, we were kind of unsure what was next, because before that we were really struggling to get matches and stuff. We struggled for the whole of 2021 until the end. So it was always kind of like a grey area. Didn't know where we wanted to go next. Obviously ended up fighting for the lightweight belt on Meltdown, and then the Levi fight happened, and that just made sense. And then the plan was kind of take a break. I wanted to do IMAF before I went pro, so I wanted to go to the Europeans at least one more time. The Rage title fight kind of just happened as well, and it was just good timing right before IMAF. I always had it in my head and with the team as well that after IMAFs that would be, I would have done everything there is apart from the Worlds. But I felt like it was just time to go pro at that point.
Do you feel like now you're maybe a different fighter to what you were even a few months ago, and that's like a big reason as to why you have gone professional now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've come on leaps and bounds even since my last fight. Obviously, every fighter says how much they've improved, but I really have improved a lot since my last fight. I've, learned from my mistakes. My last year has been it's probably been the biggest year out of my amateur career so far. It's been a massive year, like, for me to develop. Yeah, and it'll definitely show next Saturday as well.
So you are making your debut under Budo Fighting Championships. How did the deal with Budo come to be? Were there any negotiations with other promotions? What was it about Budo that appealed to you?
So the promoter, Dino Gambitessa, actually went to the IMAF Europeans, and he was one of the coaches there. Obviously, I made my amateur debut on there as well. So in that sense, it does make sense for it to happen again. But we were just talking. We basically made like a little promise. He said he wanted me for my debut. I said he could have me for my debut. It just kind of went from there. So, yeah.
Were there other maybe talks looking at other promotions, or was it just strictly you made this promise, you're going to go to Budo, you're going to stick to that promise? Was there any other thoughts of maybe even if Cage Warriors were looking, anything like that?
I mean, we were keeping our options open, but obviously we want to be smart, right? We don't want to go for a stupidly difficult fight, the first pro fight. We want to get in there. We want to get it done. We want to get out and then start, slowly building myself up, building my professional profile up. So, yeah, I mean, we kept our eyes open, but it was pretty much always going to be Budo, especially if the date worked out.
Is it kind of a good thing, and it maybe swayed you more closer to Budo, knowing that the first fight was going to be in Wales?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to be traveling really, really far into someone else's backyard for your pro debut. There's already, going to be added pressure on the fact that you're making your professional debut anyway. So yeah, it's certainly being in Wales helped, being in South Wales even more so.
But we are now just a few days out. How does it feel knowing that you're finally making your professional debut? It's been quite some time in the works because we all knew you were going professional, but how does it feel to know you're just a few days away from making that debut?
No, I mean, it's only really come on me recently because I only released the fight poster only came out on Friday, I think it was. I mean,
yeah, it wasn't long ago, was it?
Yeah, I've had about 5 different opponent changes. The amount of weeks I had to confirmed, and then a couple of days later, it was off. So it's been all over the place at times. We're like, are we going to find someone? So it really didn't feel official till last Friday. But yeah, it's extremely exciting. When it finally got, made, I was extremely happy about that.
Does the lead up feel any different, or is it just business as usual?
No, it doesn't feel any different. The only thing I'm doing differently is wearing elbow pads in training, and obviously hitting pads with smaller gloves. But everything else, like mentally and how hard I'm training, everything's staying exactly the same.
Let's now get on to this Saturday's opponent. You are taking on Mickey Miller, who is 4-9 as a professional. On your Instagram account last week, and you did just say it there, you have stated that you've had a few different opponent changes. Although I'm sure you've had March 4th in your head for quite some time, but is it difficult approaching such a big occasion with the uncertainty surrounding your opponent, not knowing who you're going to fight?
No, because I was very lucky, Dino was very confident he was going to get me a match and reassured us the whole way through we were going to get someone. So I was treating it like any other camp, like I had an opponent. Obviously, wasn't able to train specifics for an opponent, but I was still training as hard. I was eating well. I was doing everything right, and I was just waiting for the opportunity to come.
And I just did say there, you are taking on Mickey Miller, who is 4-9 as a professional. What have you seen of your opponent? What do you expect him to bring come fight night?
Expect him to be very game, quite wild on the feet. It's going to come forward. It's going to swing. It's going to be very exciting either way. And it's definitely going to play into my game as well.
Yeah, how do you see this fight going? Do you see yourself dominating in all areas and just ending the fight however you fancy? Do you maybe want 15 minutes or however long the bout is in your favor just to get it in the tank, or are you looking for a quick finish, get out there, turn around, and go on with your professional?
Yeah, I can tell you certainly no fighter that I know wants to be in a cage for 15 minutes. I'm hoping it'll be complete dominance off the bell and over in the first round. The quicker I can turn around and get fighting again, the better. But if it does go the full 15, we are ready for it. But I don't see it going past the first, if I'm honest.
Do you have any do you know where you're going to be better in this matchup against your opponent, or do you see yourself literally dominating in all areas, being the more well-rounded opponent, just taking it wherever you want?
Yeah, I certainly think I'm better than this guy in all areas, 100%. I've been training harder. I'm just a better fighter than him. And although he's got more professional experience than me, I've still got, 14 amateur fights under my belt, and I had an extremely active couple of years recently. So, yeah.
So if and when you get the victory on Saturday, how quickly would you like to turn around? Are you looking to have an action-packed 2023? Because we all know you are a guy who likes to get fights in quick, get them under your belt. How are you looking to face 2023?
Obviously, we're kind of still waiting on some news to kind of develop a bit further, but it's looking like May, hopefully internationally, but we'll have to see what comes of that. I can't confirm or deny anything yet because I don't know a whole lot at the moment.
You've got me intrigued now. Will it be under the Budo banner? Are they going international? Will you look maybe another promotion? Is that who you're looking for in May?
It'll be a different promotion. Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, you've got me intrigued now. And you can't even say anything, mate. You're gonna have me on strings.
I can't say anything because I haven't got anything confirmed. That's the hope at the moment. We're hoping for something overseas. So
Okay. Are you excited to get overseas again? Obviously, you went IMAFs, but is fighting overseas something that gives you more experience? You like fighting overseas, or how do you feel about fighting overseas?
I mean, traveling is just a massive part of fighting. I'd take any opportunity to go to different countries to fight. So yeah, I'd love it. I'd welcome it.
Now, as you look to leave your amateur career in the rearview mirror, I just want to mention some of your highlights upon your road to becoming a professional. It's been quite the journey already. Four-time regional champion, you've represented Wales at IMAFs and gone head-to-head with some of the world's best. What moments from your amateur career stand out to you the most?
For me personally, first one that comes to mind is beating the Russian at the 2019 IMAF European Championships. I mean, if I'm honest, no one else thought I was going to do it. I didn't even realize I was going to do it. That was a massive turning point for me. Do you know what I mean? I was 18-year-old kid, got matched up against the number one favorite to win in the category, and then I beat him handedly. So that's got to be number one for me. Number two is either the Cage Warriors Academy title defense against Levi, just because I quite like the hostile crowd. I hated how it was once again another fight that I wasn't supposed to win, and then I won all 9 minutes of the fight. beat Levi at his own game, and then obviously when I had the third belt wrapped around my waist in September, those are my top three. That's it.
You just mentioned that night in Ebbw Vale where you defended the featherweight title against Levi Batchelor. I was there on a night, and I can confirm it was a very hostile environment for you. Walking in, everyone was on your back. Levi was obviously the favourite, as he is a sure MMA guy and from Ebbw Vale around that area. Heading into the fight, it was stated as one of the biggest fights in Cage Warriors Academy history. And it's safe to say, like you said there, you did have the better of the fight throughout the whole entirety. How much confidence did that give you going forward? Because you two, I mean, although he's a bantamweight coming up to try and take your title, you were both kind of seen as these two guys, Wales's top prospects, going head to head in the amateur scene. How much confidence does that give you to take the guy out and keep heading on?
Yeah, I mean, I already had confidence before that fight. I think more than reassuring confidence for myself, it kind of made other people understand how good I was. I didn't have anything to prove to myself, but I guess everyone else.
Do you like fighting in these hostile environments?
Yeah, I mean, when I fought, when I won the bout against Kenzie in December, I got up on the cage, and then obviously I saw all the crowd giving me the fingers, so I gave it back to them. I don't know why I did it, but it's height of adrenaline. Same after the Levi fight, the crowd was even worse that time. I got up from the cage, they were giving me the finger, and I gave it back. I really enjoyed kind of like playing the heel in that situation.
That's what we love to hear, honestly. You love a fighter playing the heel. You love a fighter hyping up the crowd and maybe even giving the finger. I mean, I like seeing it personally, but you know what I mean. Let's start talking about your last outing. It was in September at IMAFs. Did you want this time off, maybe September to now March? Was that something you were looking towards, or did you want to maybe turn around even quicker and it just didn't work out like that?
No, this was exactly what I was looking for, to be honest. I was always kind of had in my head a March turnaround, end of Feb, early March. I needed a break. I'd had a really busy year, busy couple of months. I just needed some time off, maybe just to develop my skills a bit more rather than being in fight camp all the time. Obviously, I knew this year was going to be busy, so that break before I begin kind of like the 2023 campaign was really important to me.
Although it may not have gone your way at IMAFs, how important was it just to get the experience of going to the IMAF competition, experiencing that week all over again? I know you've already done it before, but how important was it this close to your professional debut? How important was it to get that experience under your belt again?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like IMAFs. I say every amateur needs to go to at least one IMAF event. There's nothing like fighting, winning, and then going, all right, I've got to get back in the zone. I've got to fight tomorrow. It's mentally tough, and it'll only make fighters mentally stronger to go to IMAF. So it certainly doesn't get tougher on the head than an IMAF competition. That's for sure.
One thing with the amateur regional scene, I feel like you can potentially get caught up in fighting the local guys that you know. When you go to IMAFs, it's maybe guys you have heard of, but they're from abroad. They're from Russia, like you said there. I mean, yeah. Anytime you see a Russian flag in mixed martial arts, it's always a daunting task. But how important is it getting the experience of fighting these guys abroad? Because you can get caught up potentially in the regional scene. Yeah,
I mean, you could certainly get too comfortable fighting guys in the regional scene, just fighting the English, the Welsh, and maybe the Scottish on a rare occasion on the regional scene. But you go into these fighting these different opponents from different countries in IMAF. That's what you're going to be doing at pro, especially at the high level. If you go into an organization like the UFC, chances of you getting pulled against another Welsh guy pretty much zero. An English guy also pretty low. They're going to be foreign, so you've got to get used to those different styles that they're going to bring to the table.
We've now touched on IMAFs, Cage Warriors Academy Wales, your upcoming fight on Saturday at Budo. Now a bit more onto you. This is a question I like asking all the fighters I interview. I find it just absolutely fascinating. Since you got into the sport of mixed martial arts, what is one thing that the sport has taught you?
I mean, it's taught me loads of things. I think since I've started MMA, it's taught. I can't really put it into like one individual situation, but certainly just to enjoy the little moments, especially with when you're in a cage and you win that fight, you get your hand raised, that adrenaline you feel, you look at everything around you, it could be better. That, especially once you're 14 fights in, that feeling dies down pretty quick. I mean, when I fought in September on Raged, I won my fight. It's crazy. I had the belt around me. I went and saw everyone. I got outside, and that kind of like that high had already started coming down. So those moments like that, you've really got to cherish and enjoy. So just enjoy the little things. Maybe that's a hard training session. Just be grateful for it.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years, definitely in the double digits of fights in the next 5 years. I'm hoping super busy. 10 years, I mean, I'd like to, be at the top of my game in 10 years. I'd be 32 at that point. So I'd be like in my prime years. So hopefully finding some big organizations.
I can't believe you're only 22. I mean, every time I hear that, it just blows my mind. Sorry, this wasn't even a part of the interview. I mean,
yeah, that's all right.
You're the same age as me. It's just like blows my mind that you're only 22 and you're taking on your professional debut this week. Apologies for that. I have just got a bit carried away there. But for those out there watching who maybe haven't seen you fight before, they're attending Budo Fighting Championships 55 on Saturday night. They haven't seen you fight before. What can they expect when you step into the cage?
Right. Well, you can certainly expect wrestling. It's always going to happen. That's my A game. There's always going to be a bit of wrestling. Certainly, some lovely elbows and knees to the head. Hopefully, if I get the opportunity to, it'll be a good night. Definitely a lot of elbows. Hopefully,
that's what we love to hear. We love an elbow or two. But finally, do you have a message for your fans out there? Anyone who's supported you over the past few months in the lead up to your professional fight?
Yeah, just a quick shout out to all my sponsors. So you got Christy from Chaos Sports Massage. She does all my massages, sponsors me that. Got Sam Dodge from Grip Strength, does all my strength conditioning. We got Mark Shipman from Original Go To, Essence of Nature 2019. And I've been working with a nutritionist for this camp, Sean Aspinall, the Origin Project, and obviously my teammates, my coaches at Celtic Pride Martial Arts and Craig Ewers Academy.
Apologies for putting you on the spot there. I know I did just throw that you on. I know. That's very impressive to just list off your sponsors like that. For me, I'd forget them all, but that was very impressive. But honestly,
I've got one more. Sorry, Drive by Barber does my haircuts. So yeah, he just come on for this camp.
Well, there we are. I feel like that's a very important one. You have to look sharp on fight night. Let's be honest.
Cool.
But honestly, thank you so much for joining me today. We wish you all the best of luck in your professional debut. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.